So, good morning, namaste, and vanakkam again.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. So, let's begin with a quick review of what we have discussed about the outcomes side. Remember the diagram that we had discussed earlier? We tried to portray management in the form of a single diagram, represent it visually. So, what are the main points we have discussed on the outcomes side? We'll take a review and then we'll move on. I'm not talking of yesterday, not yesterday alone, but overall, if we can take a quick review. What happened, you guys? I mean, you must be having something at least written down by, you can even read out from your notes and try to share so that we do some internalization of what we have discussed so far.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, in the outcome side, first we have discussed about mission. What is the mission?
Okay, don't go into the
Discussion.
definition and all. Yeah, we'll go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
And
A discussion on mission, what is the company law and what is the purpose of existing of company.
yeah, sure.
Then
Good.
Then we go to the vision statement, and that
Okay.
it is the statement of future reality.
Future
Then
reality.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then
The two types of vision, eventual and timed.
Yes, sir. Eventual in time.
And
Then,
leader dependent and time dependent.
Yes, sir.
Four
Then
components of mission: basic
we have
activity, manner of performance, stakeholders,
man
and expected outcomes.
and expected outcomes. Yes, sir.
They are at the philosophical level. Next. Next.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Then, sir, we discussed about
Objectives.
yes, sir. Objectives level. What is the objective? Like it puts direction of effort is to,
Yeah.
and
States the
and
direction of effort. Correct.
effort. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And it can vary subtle way from person to person in the organization, and we talk about the syntax of the objectives.
Yeah.
And
Maximize or minimize some performance
criteria. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then
objectives are inherently conflicting.
Yes, sir. And it can we can link to resources. It can be linked to resources.
Yes, objectives are directly linked to our resource deployment. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then
we talk about opportunity cost, that it should be high. We should select that task that it should be high.
Because if you do not select the task with the highest opportunity cost and you're doing some other task, that means you're suffering a greater task than what you will have to otherwise. Okay, good. Then
we policies, plan, program, and project.
Okay, fine.
There
Those are the
4
levels.
types.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 4 levels.
Okay.
Then we go through work level. There are that in the work level there are 2 type of employees, supervisor and workers.
Correct.
And we practice 4 level practices, processes, protocol, and performance.
Yeah.
Then
and goals are smart.
Yeah, smart goals is like it should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Very good. Okay.
Then it should be we should practice the goal-driven self-organization, organizing system.
Yes.
Then we little bit talk about learning curve, that when the number of iteration will increase, our number of errors will go down.
Yes. Correct. What is the connection with goal? So when you assign a goal and a person repeats the achievement of the goal, the learning curve will start operating. So the efficiency of the person will start improving.
Increasing, yes, sir.
Correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's it. Correct. So that is on the outcome side. We talked of the levels of the organization. The top or the leadership or the strategic level, the philosophical level, and then we looked at the mid, the managerial level, the tactical level, the policy level, and the work, which is the performance level, okay, and it's the operational level of the organization. So we talked of mission, vision, objectives, and goals with respect to each one of these levels. So that's on the outcome side, and please do not forget, a vision is a long-term goal. Okay, please just make a note of that. A vision is a long-term goal. So that's why you try to set it in the long term, so that you move in that direction and you are able to realize a vision. So you pursue a mission, you realize a vision, you fulfill objectives, and by achieving goals. Okay. That is the logic on the output side, the right hand side of the diagram that we had drawn earlier. Okay. So today we will come on the input side. So if you really want to achieve goals, we need to place resources. Okay. You utilize resources and you leverage resources, right? And we talked of 5 types of resources, if you recall. Can we name those 5 basic types of resources? Because it's by the utilization and the leveraging of resources, you are able to do the work and get the outcomes, yes, achieve goals, fulfill objectives, realize a vision, pursue a mission, and so on. So what are the 5 basic types of resources?
Sir, human resource.
Human, okay, good.
Financial resources.
Financial.
Technology resources,
yeah,
in which infrastructure and material.
Technology, infrastructure, and materials. Then?
Yes, sir. Organizational and managerial resources.
Organizational, managerial resources.
Networks and relationships.
Networks and relationships. So we will discuss these in detail. We'll begin that. Okay. So I'll start with human resources first. Basically, when we talk of resources, the question of capability of the resources comes to mind. Resource capability. Okay. How do we leverage the resources? We leverage the resources because they have some capabilities. Sometimes we call them functional capabilities. Okay. Now, when it comes to human resources, the capabilities are reflected in terms of 2 outcomes: knowledge and skills. K for knowledge, S for skills, right? And this is very, very important. What you know and what you can do. Okay. In fact, there's a different way we put this. These 2 combine to form what is known as competence. Competence. So human being or human resource can be leveraged with respect to the competence that the resource possesses, a he or a she, or a combination, or even as a team. Please note that the team as a whole is not just the sum of the individuals who form the team. That's a very inadequate view. I hope you're clear about that. Okay? A team as a whole is much more than the individuals. So that is why we talked about the concept of synergy earlier. You may recall our discussion on synergy, making the system as a whole much more than its parts. All right? So competence of individuals and competence of teams and groups or circles, whatever, or task forces, whatever name you wish to use in a given context, right? So human resources possess competence. And then there's a third one, which is very important, which is character. So human resources should be able to demonstrate competence and show character. Now, please understand, both are important. You need character and you need competence. But personally, I would say, if given a hard choice between character and competence, it'd be very difficult. But I might tend to choose character. I might tend to choose character. I'm not sure whether I'll be perfect, but my instinct would work in that direction. Because sometimes I would tend to believe that competence can be developed in people with basic intelligence. I mean, we are not talking of people who are off their minds, that's a different ball game altogether. We are talking of people who are otherwise normal. But if they possess fine character, then competence can be developed, because development of character is a little more difficult. It's not very easy, especially when somebody comes to work life, because you're dealing with adults. Because we're not going to talk of child labor, that's a different point. It's illegal. I'm talking about the world of work where we are dealing with adults. So they have to show both. You may ask the question, what is character? Character in one way is called meta-competence. And what is meta-competence? The competence to use competence in different contexts and correctly. Okay, you may recall I had mentioned meta-knowledge, knowledge about knowledge. So meta-competence, competence to use competence. So you need that also. I hope you understand this point. So what are some words you can recall that would reflect the character of a person? Yeah, I would like one or two examples from you, please. What are some words you feel reflect character of a person?
Honesty.
Discipline. Excellent. Then?
Sir, honesty.
Honesty or integrity. Very good. See, there are many dimensions
Learning
of character.
behavior.
Pardon?
Learning behavior.
Learning behavior. Okay. Orientation to learning. It's character. Learning orientation, we call it. Okay. Good examples. What you have given are very good examples. Okay. So, and there are many dimensions to character. Integrity, honesty, forthrightness, truthfulness. Okay. And there are some interesting aspects where the knowledge and the competence and character will also overlap. Sense of humor, it overlaps with competence. Character and competence have intersections also, right? Diligence, attention to detail, fearlessness, courage. Okay. So there are so many things. Compassion, kindness, a sense of responsibility. You can see so many dimensions constitute character. So character is reflected in terms of the values, habits, and revealed behavior. Of a person. Okay, which you can observe. So character in that sense is more of a long-term phenomenon. We're not talking momentary character can be faked. Somebody can fake momentary character or short-term character. You may want, I mean, you means don't take it literally. Somebody may want to cheat somebody. So they reveal a particular character which doesn't belong to them, but for a short time. So the other person loses. But eventually the character shows. We say rang nikal jayega. the colors will show. In Tamil we say, Sayam Veluthunu. Okay. So this is very important. So when we talk of character, we must understand both the steady character of a person and the temporary character of a person, which is articulated deliberately by that person, usually for an undesirable purpose. Okay. But sometimes, I mean, very rarely I have even come across people who fake character for almost 20 years, and then they will reveal. The Satan inside will come out. You know, but it takes time. It takes time. People change. Or maybe they are victims of fate. I don't want to blame anybody that way. But that is character. So you have to observe character. Both are important at work. Don't forget that. Competence is important and so is character. For example, diligence, that urge to complete work is character. I will not leave my work or the task at hand unattended is character. Okay. So you judge human resources in terms of the knowledge they possess, the skills they display, and the character they reveal. I'm stating this because sometime you may recruit people, and please use this model and try to understand who the other party is. Don't go by only competence. You might make a serious error, sometimes a blunder. And unfortunately, you may discover the blunder several years later. But that's okay. That's life. Everybody carries on. I hope you understand this point very clearly. Now, knowledge consists of two aspects: explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit and tacit. I hope you got it. You can make note. I'm not going to write it here. Explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is knowledge that a person can reveal, can express, can explain, okay, can show direct evidence. Tacit knowledge, T-A-C-I-T, on the contrary, is knowledge that somebody holds but which they cannot express, they cannot explain. We talked of this very recently, if you recall. If you go and ask Sachin Tendulkar, sir, how do you execute that exquisite cover drive? The poor gentleman may not be able to express in words. You know, sometimes we ask children, no? We come across children. So you ask the child, how much do you love uncle? And the child will say, itna. I mean, does that really convey something? It does. It conveys some meaning, all right. But the child cannot accurately express what the child means. The same thing can happen between husband and wife, or mother and child, father and child, brother and sister, isn't it? Or even between friends. How do you express it? Tacit knowledge, but you hold the knowledge. Okay. So you have to judge this aspect. This is a very important part of human resource leveraging, because a lot of the efficiency of the work is linked to tacit knowledge also. Your haath ki kamal, you know, the magic of the hand. The person will not be able to express, but the person is too good in performing some task. Imagine you have a craftsperson, a mechanic, who is able to do fault finding like that. That person has a knack, and you are observing that in the team nobody else is able to match this person in accurate fault tracing. Now you go and ask that person, how is it that you're so accurate? You really believe that person will be able to explain how he or she is accurate? Come on, not possible. Tacit knowledge. But the beauty is all of us can observe tacit knowledge. we may not be able to express it. I mean, that leads you to the subject of knowledge management, which we are not going to discuss in our course, but I just wanted you to be aware of that subject. It's a body of knowledge. Managing knowledge. How do organizations manage explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge? This is very important. Okay? Explicit knowledge can be codified, stored, represented, shared. Tacit knowledge, because it cannot be expressed, how on earth are you going to codify what you cannot express? So you can't store it. It's there. It's there in a person. It's there in the organization. And when people retire and go, the tacit knowledge goes with them. So there are organizations, there are many researchers who have tried to understand how can the organization capture tacit knowledge? Are there any methods? So they say yes. There are some methods, there are some frameworks by which tacit knowledge can be captured. But they have to be balanced across with the policies of the organization. Please understand, because very often experts would like to hold the knowledge to themselves. They fear that when they reveal the knowledge, their expert status will go. Partly true, partly false. Partly true because you will have rascals sitting in the organization who will take advantage of the expert and then put the expert aside. Okay? And sometimes that comes into the territory of the art and science of politics in organizations, which we'll talk much later. But that is the truth. But you still, for the benefit of the organization, you need that tacit knowledge. Okay? And haven't we heard how many times, even in the world of science, you get those rare cases where scientists fake data and results, fraudulent scientists. Okay? Now, this is the real world. So when we talk of knowledge and skills, it's not just the theory, it's also in the world of practice. How do you select a person with the right combination of competence and character, knowledge and skills? How do you maintain that person in the organization in a good frame of mind, motivated, expressive, willing to share expertise? So these are all big questions. I hope this part is clear about competence and character. I also will suggest that you can use this as a starting point to evaluate performance of human resources. You know, every organization worth its salt has performance evaluation systems. Some do it on a project basis, some do it on a time basis, some do it on a combination basis. So you could have human resources evaluation with the reference of a project. You can have human resources performance evaluation with a quarter of a year, 3 months, or a half year. And of course, annual performance review is common in many organizations. And today people are talking about things like 360-degree review. I mean, there are authors who write that be very careful with 360-degree review. There's this author called Marcus Buckingham. You know, he says he's not against 360 degrees. He says it can lead you astray, be careful and so on. But the idea is good. 360-degree review means you're reviewed by all direct contacts, your superiors, your peers, your partners, sometimes your subordinates also. Of course, in a teacher-student relationship, we don't come to superior subordinate. I don't think it's correct. It's a teacher-student relationship, but it's important for institutions and even for the teachers to get a feedback from the students. Are you able to understand what's being taught in the class? Have you understood the purpose of a course? Why is that course being transacted in class? What benefits are going to come to you because of that course? What will you lose if you don't do that course? Is the teacher clear? Is the teacher engaging the class in an interesting way. So there are many dimensions which you also evaluate, which is fair and which is constructive for the purpose of the institution and also to the concerned teacher. Now, with the hope that in case there are some points where the teacher has to focus upon, the hope is the teacher will do that. So that's about human resources. The purpose of this performance review is to provide constructive feedback, but there are instances where people abuse the performance review system. I use the word abuse. If not abuse, they misuse the performance system. You know, there are 4 uses: use, misuse, abuse, disuse. So you must know the difference. These are very important even in the world of practice. Use. So this is a pen. Okay. I can use it for the purpose for which it was made, which is to enable us to write. That is use of the pen. If I use this pen to dig my ear, it is misuse. That's not the purpose. Digging the ear is not the purpose for which the pen was made. If I use the pen to kill a person, thrust it into the throat, the jugular, that's abuse of the pen, because I'm using it for an unethical purpose. Digging the ear is not unethical, it's inappropriate and maybe disgusting. Okay. But hurting a person or killing a person is even immoral. So that's abuse. Disuse. I buy the pen, don't use it at all. Disuse. Remember, what you don't use atrophies, wears out, degrades. You don't use your intelligence, it degrades. You don't use your imagination, it will degrade. You don't use your creative sense, degradation. You don't use your relationships constructively, relationships will degrade. Remember, disuse will lead to degradation. Everything has to be used, and be very careful with those resources. Okay. So I hope you have understood the human resources aspect and how you can leverage them using the competence and character, knowledge and skills, values, habits, and revealed behavior. Can I be confident that you are clear?
Yes,
Please?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
sure. Good. Now this applies to maintenance resources. When you are a maintenance manager, it applies to your team, your craftspeople, the wireman, the lubrication expert, okay, the machinist, the plumber. So many people are there who will help you. They are part of your team. So you judge them by this frame. I hope all of you also understand there is a subtle difference between knowledge and skills. Can anybody reason and tell me what you feel is the difference between knowledge of a person and the skill of a person?
Knowledge is just like theoretical knowledge.
Okay, theoretical, conceptual, imaginary. Knowledge is not only theoretical, it's also practical knowledge. Remember, that's a good answer. Remember, when I demonstrate a skill, the skill is founded on knowledge. I hope you agree. If I demonstrate the skill to play the guitar very well, that skill is also founded. The foundation is on knowledge. But there is a subtle extra in a skill beyond knowledge. Can you try to identify what that extra is?
Experience,
Practice.
Okay, practice is correct, but I am talking of the something to describe the skill itself. What is that extra? When you say a skillful person, what is that extra that the person is able to demonstrate for us to say that person has a lot of skills? Yeah? What do you think is possessed by that person? Experience is
We
correct.
can observe the skill.
Correct, Rishabh, we can observe. My question, Rishabh, was what is it that we observe that we label the person as very skilled person, highly skilled person? What is it that we observe, Rishabh?
So
His
the
or
works
her,
that
Sorry, two of you are coming in. Yeah. Who's speaking, please? Abhishek.
so the things that nobody can do.
Or few people can do.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is that? What is that? Okay, please, Abhishek, that nobody can do is an exception. I hope all of you agree. If I ask each one of you to write a 250-word essay on some place, I'm sure you will do. All of you will have the skill. Your styles will be different. I hope you agree. So skills can be common skills also. Please understand this. The skill to do mental arithmetic. You don't need a calculator. Your mind is doing all the calculations, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Now that's a mental skill. Memory and recall is a mental capability, skill. I agree, everybody may not have the same strength or depth of memory. So in that sense, your answer is correct. Okay, I will help you. I have always given this simple example, and I would like you to answer very quickly, okay, yes or no. If I ask you to write the procedure to repair a punctured tire in a bicycle, will you be able to write the procedure or not?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because all of us have observed a punctured tire being repaired, fixed. We have observed. You take the cycle, the person will first deflate the air, whatever little is left, remove the tire, pull out the tube through the spokes, and then pump in air, and then put the tube into a bowl of water to observe bubbles of air coming out. And wherever bubbles come from, the person marks that place through some means, like one or more places, the person will mark, then takes the tube out. Those places are marked, then deflates the tire, cuts the rubber piece to be pasted on those punctures, and then dries the tire, rubs it off a bit, and similarly the rubber piece, then applies the glue, and then fixes it and keeps it pressed for some time until it's sealed completely, and then pumps in the air, tests the tire again for punctures, and when nothing happens, the tire is correct, takes out the air, puts in the tube, puts the tire, pumps, off you go. We all know the process. But I'm going to ask you, what is the estimate of time that you will take if you have to fix the tire puncture and you don't have past experience, but you have knowledge? You know the process because you can write the process step by step, micro motion by micro motion, you can write. Okay? How long do you think you will take to fix the tire puncture? Give an estimate of time, please. Anybody?
20 minutes.
I'm just asking an
Half
estimate.
an hour.
Half an hour, 40 minutes, 20 minutes. Do you agree there'll be some variation? How much time does that person in the shop normally take to fix a tire puncture? What is your experience?
Maximum 5 to 7
5
minutes.
to 7 minutes the fellow will finish, correct? Yeah? So this is that extra. Abhishek ji, this is extra. So the
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to compare the quality, because I'm sure if you fix the puncture of your tire, you will do a good job. I'm sure you'll be very effective. I'm not questioning you on that. I'm only talking of the speed with which you will do a high quality job, the reliability with which you do a high quality job, the accuracy and the reliability. I hope you understand this. Because the person, due to that person's experience, the person will be able to demonstrate accuracy of performance, speed in performing, and also reliability in the work done. These are three specific qualities of highly skilled people. You can notice the difference in skills across different human activities. You have skilled masons, you have skilled electricians, you have skilled other repair folk who repair mixies and grinders and gas stoves in our homes, microwave ovens, tape recorders, TV, etc. They are skilled. In fact, as far as repair of TV goes, at least I will confess, I don't even have knowledge. I only know it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. So you need a person who's trained. This is where exactly you guys come in. And this is what the law of the land says. So when we want to maintain sophisticated equipment in our healthcare institutions, small and large, we need a cadre of people who are highly competent, knowledge and skills. So I would urge you to pick up those skills with all those sophisticated equipment that you can come across. And I'm sure you agree, there are different types of sophisticated equipment in our healthcare institutions, many different types. Sometimes the variety of equipment that you may have in healthcare institutions could be mind-boggling, could be more than what exists on a large factory floor, shop floor. So you got the logic. I hope you understand the value of the combination of competence and character. This and this, they have to be combined, blended well. Then you have good human resources. Friendliness, is it a skill, is it a competence or a character?
Character.
Character.
Correct, sir.
Actually both. It's an intersection thing. See, you need a skill to make friends and retain friends. Please don't forget that. But it is more of character. I would agree with you guys. But I hope you also see, everybody doesn't have that knack of making quick friends. I'm sure you've come across some people who have that knack. Very quickly they'll make friends. And they'll be good friends also. It's not that they're out to cheat or something like that, or out to pull the rug under the feet. No. So there is a knack in that. I brought in friendliness because it is a very important part of the competence character complex in a team, in a maintenance team. You need people to trust each other and respect, mutual respect. Is it competence or character? Hey guys, come on. The respect you hold for somebody and demonstrate, is it your competence or character?
Character.
It's much more of character. See, unfortunately, my dear friends, how much of character is formally taught in our education system? Right from preschool to PhD. Between competence and character, where do you think our education system has placed emphasis?
Competence.
Competence.
Absolutely. In fact, I will be even more specific. our education system has placed a lot of emphasis on K, knowledge, and a little lesser emphasis on skills, except in certain types of education, like polytechnics or ITIs, where skills training, vocational education, where the aim is to promote skills, to impart skills. But you take our own engineering education, how much of skills are developed? How many mechanical engineers can confidently go and operate a CNC machine? How many electrical engineers can confidently go and do repairs on a power transformer? I have come across electrical engineers very rarely who don't know how to replace a damn fuse at home. So please understand, there are very interesting things for us to observe in this. So when you become a maintenance manager, you have a frame here to check what's happening on the human resources front. And remember, your higher objectives of minimizing downtime or maximizing availability, minimizing cost, maximizing safety, and even balancing relationships, etc., depend on this. I hope you agree. It's dependent on this. The competence and character of people with whom you work, and you as the manager. Remember our definition of management. I'm just recalling it for our benefit, so it's a rerun, that it's internalized. It gets internalized. Stating a priori at the start time what you will achieve, accomplish at the end time goal. State it. State what you want to do. Management by design. State what you want to do, why you want to do, how you want to do. I'm focusing on the how part. I'll come to the why part a little later. How you want to do. Leveraging resources. Under what conditions? 1, you're working in an ocean of uncertainty. 2, you're working with limited resources. 3, you're working in groups and teams and circles and task forces, working groups, etc. And 4, you're working following some regulations, rules, protocols, etc. So that's the great excitement of management. How do you play this fantastic game? Working with limited resources, facing uncertainty, working in a group, and following regulations and rules. Okay? So now we can understand management by design. State what you want to do, why you want to do, how you want to do. How? Leverage resources. Of course, there is also strategy, tactics, and operations. We're not going to touch on all that in our course. Are we clear? Are you clear about this connection?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Now you can easily understand the importance of training and professional development of your human resources. Now you can understand. So that's why organizations make monetary investments in training their people. Is this clear? Because you judge what is it that you want. Please understand, if you do not train your people, there is a cost you will pay, because you will expend more money on countering your inefficiencies and wrongs. That is also, the money meter is running there. You are paying through your nose for that. And you don't even know whether the person coming from outside is doing a right job or not. Why? Because we may be ignorant, completely ignorant. Okay? So when we deal with human resources, there are so many aspects, starting with scanning the market for the right human resources. Remember, if you are a maintenance manager, it is your duty to scan the market for good maintenance people to be recruited in your organization. And then of course going through the recruitment process, getting them in, testing them, sitting through the interview, evaluating the test, and then say, yeah, this is good, and then negotiating salaries. I mean, there are so many things in this. So maintenance management is not just dealing with machines alone. I want you to understand that clearly. You have to deal with your human resources, starting from the whole cycle, scanning for human resources, getting them into the organization through the process of recruitment. There are many fine-tuned aspects. And in recruiting, are you going to, today, after having listened to me, now you give me an answer. When you are recruiting good talent for your maintenance team, will you look at only competence?
No, sir. Both.
Yeah,
No, sir.
absolutely. So how will you be confident that the person has an acceptable character? What is it that you will do to ascertain that the person has acceptable character? Because you cannot test character. The interview at best will be 1 hour or 2 hours.
We can experience the character.
You have the experience. Anything else, Rishabh?
Like
Because in 1 or 2 hours, Rishabh, you're not going to, the person is not going to reveal steady character. Nobody will do that. Neither you nor me.
So any activity or task as a part of recruitment process.
Yeah, that is one very good aspect, Ariman. Something else. Do you agree? That's where you go for letters of reference and all. Do you agree? You ask the person, can you bring 2 or 3 reference letters from people, and you try to contact. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a slightly related but interesting question. Let's say you guys are participating in the arrangement of the marriage of your sister. Now you tell me, where will you put greater weight?
Character.
Obviously. Obviously. Now, do you agree you will do heavy due diligence on the character? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So just take a few seconds and tell me what due diligence will do. How will you ascertain the character of the potential groom for your sister? I know it's nothing to do with maintenance management, but it has implications. When I say nothing to do, don't take nothing seriously, the word nothing. What I mean is there's little to do. It's a social situation I'm talking about, but it has implications for the practical situation when you recruit a member of your team. So how will you ascertain, how will you gain confidence that your risks are low? How will you do that?
From mutual relatives.
Absolutely. You talk to many people, you talk to the person's friends, you tell them, look, we are trying to do this. Can you please tell us in confidence? Because you're dealing with the life of a person. You do so much of due diligence. Same in the professional world. Please do not forget this, my friends. It is the same story in the professional world. You just don't recruit somebody ऐसे ही, just say that, अरे यार, चलो आ जाओ, कल से team में है. And that's not the way you can do it. There's a lot of stuff that goes before you form a good team, and human resources. Okay, this is very, very clear to you. Shall we move on?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We are clear about human resources. I differentiate between knowledge and skills. Skills also have 2 types. You have physical body skills and mind skills. Memory, imagination, attention to detail, etc. are mind skills. Focus, concentration is a mind skill. Are you understanding? Logical reasoning, critical thinking, creative thinking, these are all mind skills. Artistic thinking is a mind skill. Similarly, body skills. How flexible is your body? How nimble are your fingers? Because when you're working with maintenance, you may have to reach certain parts of the machine and feel using your fingers and try to do the work. You may be in that kind of a situation. Sometimes you may watch some Hollywood movies where you will find these things being shown, you know. Okay, where the nimbleness of your fingers would matter, the flexibility of your body may matter, the strength in your arms may matter, isn't it? Physically, your eyesight may matter. That's also physical. When I say strength, don't think only in terms of hard energy. How good is your hearing? I told you, no, about that blind mechanic in Bhopal or Nagpur. You may recall that. Just by the sound of the engine, the person will say, I know what the problem is. So these are also strengths, and they are physical in nature, sensory. Okay, so there are so many things you have to test for. So it's not just the knowledge and skills, these are combined with your strengths. The skills come because of your strengths, your sense of balance in the body, your stability, your physical stability. Everything has to do with the strengths and the skills that you possess. Okay, so is this part clear now? I hope I've given you a sufficient elaboration on human resources.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course there are many other subjects related to this which we are not going to discuss in our course, because our course is more towards maintenance. Wherever in my judgment, I felt this will be useful to you, I agree my judgment may be wrong. I mean, you can give me feedback anytime you feel like, okay, but I'm trying to do the best I can in my mind at least. I'm trying to show that integrity as a teacher in transferring what knowledge I feel is necessary for you in your future role as maintenance managers. Okay, that's very, very important. And I hope you're sort of taking some notes at least. This will help you later, because I didn't find many things in a single textbook. I will give you some references. I also understand that later the links for our lectures will be provided so that you guys can use the links, watch the lectures. Thank you. All the best to you.